Emily mentioned earlier about the incredible contributions of the Sansone family. So at this time, we'd like to hear from them. We're going to hear from Mr. Anthony F. Sansone III.
Hello, everyone, friends, new connections. We were approached some time ago, well, not that long ago, by Emily and Karla Smith. I'm sorry, Emily Smith and Kevin Smith from the Karla Smith Foundation regarding the opportunity with Miss Glenn Close and the Bring Change to Mind Foundation. And it was my father and myself at a brief lunch meeting. Within 5 minutes, we knew that we were committed because, as Mrs. Smith said so eloquently, we understood because we had had the same experience. In May 2nd, 2001, I lost my mother, Peggy Sansone, to suicide. She was a mother to 7 beautiful children and an adoring wife to my father, Tony Sansone Jr. And I want to talk, first off, I want to thank everyone for being here. What you all have done, what has been accomplished tonight is astounding to me, and I am most grateful. I want to talk a little bit about connections and the ripple effect. What I've seen here tonight is the positive aspect of the ripple effect. Whereas for so many years, we've only had the negative. For so many years, somebody affected by suicide, somebody committed suicide, the negative effects spread to family members, to friends, because they lived with the stigma of mental illness, unable to share it, unable to grieve. When Emily and Kevin approached us, we saw the positive happening. Now the ripple effect was my father and I dealing with my mother's death, reaching out to others. And through some of our own work, we were able to refer people to the great Dr. Cloninger, who is the director of our foundation at Washington University. Within the first week of having our own gala, I had received 30 phone calls, separate phone calls from people asking if they could come and see Dr. Cloninger. Flash forward to now, many of those people who I referred came up for us and are now guests here tonight and new friends of ours. And that's the positive effect. That's the connections being built. And with this tiny, every great journey begins with a single step. And I think we just took a huge leap. I want to thank just a few people. First and foremost, Ms. Glenn Close, for all the work you've done. As we discussed at our first meeting with Emily and Kevin, their mission was for global change, for a global cultural shift. And with someone of your stature, we're starting to see that happen. And the next people I want to thank are Emily and Kevin for all the work you all have done. And Emily, I think there's some people from Anheuser-Busch here, so if you're ever interested in a job in marketing, I think somebody's going to snatch you up. I have to brag just a little bit about Emily especially. How many children? One. She's got one child. She's the quote-unquote part-time. I don't think 18 hours a day qualifies as part-time for the Karla Smith Foundation. I would often receive phone calls at 10 o'clock at night with a baby crying in the background and Emily saying, "Hi, Tony, this is Emily Smith from the Karla Smith Foundation. If I could just borrow a few minutes of your time, I wanted to go over some things." So, Emily, God bless you. That's all I'm going to say. You've done great work. I also want to thank my family, and especially I want to point out my father, Tony Sansone Jr., who started the Peggy Sansone Family Center for Wellbeing. Without him, I, who suffered from depression, would not be able to stand here today relatively confidently. I'll just say relatively, I'm a little bit nervous, and to stand here and talk in front of you all. And I can say that I am at the happiest place I've ever been in my life, and that's because of the work of the Karla Smith Foundation and the Sansone Family Center for Wellbeing and the Bring Change to Mind Foundation, and the work of Dr. Cloninger, who, when my mother first became ill, my father called some of the greatest physicians he could get referred to. One in Switzerland, they said, "You have one of the best in your backyard." A man who's received the Lifetime Achievement Award from the American Psychological Association, the Academy of Addiction Medicine, and I'm trying to remember them all. There's a bunch of them, but those are 2 lifetime achievements he's received. There's actually 3, so we'll just stick with 2 for now. And when my father called him, he said, "I can be at my office in 10 minutes," and it was a Sunday. I also want to thank all of you here tonight. With your help, we are on to great things. And last but not least, I want to thank my mother and Karla for all the work they're doing that they're doing through all of us. So I'll just leave it at that. Thank you.